There was this show, I think you'd remember it, called Man vs. Food. The guy who hosted it, Adam Richman, insert joke about last name here, was a competitive eater and basically went around eating weird shit. Around 2012, the show was cancelled and there was this big thing about how he had to retire from it because the excessive force feeding he did to himself was getting him super depressed and he lost love for life and he was just really unhealthy. Big surprise. Big Chung wanted to die. Now, he lost like 27 kgs or something and he's happy. You can clearly see this in the before and after. The before him would have eaten the current him. Since you clicked on this and you have heard this point, you know what point I'm going to make at the start of this, but while it's a good starting point, there is so much more I want to say. So looking at the example above, while this might not be a mukbang in the technical term, the actual act of eating excessively in one sitting and repeating that multiple times is the same. This started in Korea, I think, and took off faster than a fucking rocket. Something I will never understand is why people like to watch other people eat, but it's a massive genre apparently. Just to be clear, I'm specifically talking about the Western ones because I honestly have no fucking idea what's going on in the Korean ones, so going back to Adam Richman, he said he was extremely depressed, and now I ask you, why do you think that almost all of these channels that you can think of in your head right now have breakdowns or crying and are basically drama breakdown channels disguised as food channels? I'm not talking about some of the more, I guess, recipe-oriented channels or the ones that are just looking at weird food. I'm talking about the actual full-on gluttony fucking channels. All of them are like this. Even if they start off normally, they always turn into this. And is it really that much of a stretch to think that these two things are extremely tied together? The amount of food and the depression. Even some food review channels turn into that. They just go insane and everyone in these genres either completely just loses it or spirals into destruction or just stops and disappears from the face of the earth. There are a few people that stop and recover and fight their way back to health, and I have respect for them, but come to think of it, Report of the Week, one of the only normal people in it, and he's just so damn wholesome. But enough nattering, let's look at some examples. Nikocado Avocado, I'm just gonna go with that, is a prime example. He is the primo pizza of breakdown. He'll do videos on eating a disgusting amount of cheese and fried things and butter with other food people, and then he makes videos on actually crying and having an existential nightmare about why he's getting fat and why his arms look like a thigh, and why his eyes are shutting and oozing some sort of goo, and why he's getting rashes, and all of these. He doesn't seem to understand why that's happening, even though in the videos before and after, that may have been shot in the same day, I'm not sure, he is eating lard on more lard and has a snack cupboard and a giant amount of fast food. It's weird that you don't see the connection. Even in those food videos sometimes, he cries now. The emotional toll of this lifestyle creeps into those videos even when they shouldn't be. Before it used to be the drama videos and the food videos, a completely different type of tone, but now they're just bleeding together. And you'd not be surprised to hear that, I imagine. And then he'll start crying about people hating on him. That dislike ratio isn't that bad. And about just stuff in his life, or just cry in general about almost apropos of nothing. Why does he keep doing this then? Why does he keep making these videos when it's obviously destructive to his mental health? So part of it is the incentive. The drama videos get lots of views, and YouTube has a habit of demonetizing things that shouldn't be demonetized and monetizing things that shouldn't be monetized. So this is probably making quite a lot of money. Also, I genuinely think there's some sort of addiction to food here. I know that that's a stupid term thrown around a lot, but I think in this case there's something going on. Like it's just strange to me. Like, he has an excuse to eat everything. That's what his channel is about, so he uses that as an excuse to eat everything and doesn't have the willpower to just get back to eating normal portions. So when he has these mental breakdowns and physical reactions to it, he pretends he doesn't know the cause, even though the cause is obvious, so he can keep doing it and keep getting views from the breakdowns. It's the cyclical kind of really unhealthy want for attention, because they are doing the numbers, so to speak, and I wouldn't be surprised if the majority, if not a large chunk, of the people that subscribe to him are only subscribed for the strange spectacle. In fact, I think that the reason that these channels get so popular is because the channels like this fall into this insanity and people really kind of get attracted to it because they want to see what's going to happen. I don't blame them. It does become a sort of spectacle, as I said. It's like a weird reality TV sort of thing, and you don't want to take your eyes away from this weird man-child crying while he stuffs a Twinkie in every hole. Unrelated, but I tried a Twinkie for the first time like 2 years ago, and it's fucking disgusting. I don't know why people eat those. But this guy on this downward spiral is going to keep getting more unhealthy until something irreparable happens, and he's either going to realize it too late, or he just won't. Right now, I think he won't. So let's move on to my next example, Foodie Beauty, aka Chantel, last name here. She's an example of a slightly different kind, where Nick has these sort of medical-related meltdowns about his weight and his eyes and his rashes and everything. And when he cries, he kind of just cries or when he faces hate, I should say, he kind of just cries, or he just kind of shows that kind of attitude. He does scream and yell at people, but it's more out of that sort of crying. Chantel, I think, is more a mental health oriented person when it comes to that, and she tries to actively, I guess aggressively engage with the people that she doesn't like, who don't like her. She heavily censors her comments and moderates them to the point where it's really strange, because you'll look at her videos and they'll have all these positive comments, but then you'll look at her just, searching her name and it's all of these response videos. While Nick is he sort of self-pities himself and goes insane quietly on his own, Chantel has a whole lot of drama that I can't even get into right now because it warrants its own thing. She takes down videos so frequently that I'm not even showing her face right now. I have this artistic representation. So in this instance, we have a food channel who's sort of being more actively malicious rather than any emotional breakdowns because of food. In all honesty, I think it's super similar to Amberlynn Reid, but we can leave that there. I am kind of done talking about her. While Chantel's channel is smaller than Nick, she still attracts a lot of people for the wrong reasons. And it again supports that sort of principle that most of the people that look at these channels that are specifically geared towards this sort of content are very much just looking for somebody to mentally break down. Honestly, with the track record, again, I can't blame them. The next one is very odd. See, when you look into topics, you usually find a lot of things just going down the rabbit hole of recommended videos and looking up articles and looking at comments and everything, and it reveals everything over time. But the seafood thing is just a hidden horror that hid away from me despite how much food shit I was trying to dig into, the weirdest shit I could find. And that's odd because it seems like a huge thing in the food topic, but I only even noticed it because of H3's video about it. These people are very weird, and that's saying something considering what we just talked about. They don't exactly engage in the same sort of shit with the drama, I guess, and even some of the topics that the food channels do that I just talked about, but they have their own thing where they make these like really sexual moans during it, and I have no idea who this is for. I mean, the first thing you'd think of is someone's jerking off to this. But when you look in the comments, it's mostly just women talking about seafood, and it's like, are they jerking off to this? It just makes me uncomfortable. Even the food too, the other ones are trying their best to at least make the food look okay, even though they fail. And these guys just straight up make it look like they're eating the shit like straight from the fucking ocean. They increase the volume on the sounds like some weird form of ASMR, which I don't understand either, so this is even worse. It's a whole really gross thing. It's just normal porn for normal people, huh? Let me tell you, I haven't figured out why this seems to just attract the people that it does. They get really excited and ask for specific things to be eaten to do with seafood. They also seem to be very defensive about this because the H3 video has a lot more dislikes than he usually gets, I think, which could just be from some unrelated drama that I have no idea about, so feel free to correct me on that, but I am not aware of it, and it just does look like they're very defensive seafood weirdos. Unlike the last topic, the only thing that I can even comment on is how sexual and creepy it is. Oh shit, I kind of know why it's creeping me out more than it should. I mean, it should creep me out, but last night I finished watching one of those videos from Justin Wang where he talks about that lobster, the chick who fucks the lobster, and she dies, like the copy pasta and the email. That was so gross. I think that's what's freaking me out. And one of them kind of reminds me of that episode of Freaky Eaters where that one lady was like chugging tartar sauce. That was the only episode of Freaky Eaters that made me want to actually vomit. I couldn't even watch these videos without feeling like I was either going to be slightly ill or some freaky serial killer had broken into my house and was standing behind me with a meat cleaver. I'm probably on a watch list now. So the whole food channel thing, I don't get it. At the start of the video, I said I didn't understand why someone would make videos of themselves eating and why someone would want to watch that, and then I kind of corrected myself with who is really watching it, but I still have the same position. There are no doubt lots of people who do want to watch people eating. It can't be every single person subscribed to this channel that wants to look at the drama. Especially when this genre first started out. Maybe it's just one of those things that I'll never understand. I mean, I don't understand why people like ASMR, it just irritates me. I tried listening to it once and I couldn't. But I guess for some people it's a relaxation thing. I think with food channels though, I mean, ASMR has really weird sides to it, but inherently I don't think it's that bad. It just seems to be people wanting to relax with sounds. This one though, because it's dealing with something that already is incredibly unhealthy and probably shouldn't be done very often, people turning it into something like content where they have to do it often, it does become inherently unhealthy. And that's the huge problem with this. A huge problem with this genre, this really unhealthy genre. It's like that thing that people did where they used to just eat or drink random chemicals, and the shoe nice types, where I think some of them went insane too. It's the same problem, except it's just things that are edible in this case. And that doesn't really make it that much better because of the way that they're being eaten, I think. As for the people themselves, I really want to have sympathy for them. Believe me, I do. Something in me looks at the way that they have all of these issues being put out on the internet by themselves, and they have obvious solutions to the issues, but they don't want to do it. They don't want to take the step. They just want to revel in the shit and lard that they've created for themselves, even though it's unhealthy. And I support them getting help, I do. It's just that it's hard to have sympathy for them when they've done this to themselves in this way. Because this really isn't someone like Eugenia who is undergoing help, and I said in my video about her that I don't think she's going to get better, but I am hesitant to change my position just because I'm not sure what's going on. But I am genuinely wanting her to get better, and I'm glad she's getting help anyway, because it's the principle that counts, I guess. But with these, it's so easy to think that these people just have made these bad things happen to themselves and just refuse to engage and change because of the food and the attention. You could say the same thing with Eugenia to a degree for the attention, but I think that actually getting help changes that, because it shows a level of actually being self-aware enough or accepting help from people who are self-aware enough to change your position, and I think that makes a difference. There is no doubt that these examples love the attention. You've made your greasy diabetes lard burger, and now you have to eat it.